Hello everyone, the problem that we're looking at today is actually quite fun. It's 2018, but it's US Open and it's gold from one of the sorts. So we basically read a pseudo code, a cow code, and basically implements bubble sort. However, this is the silver portion. The gold portion added all of this after testing your code. We realized that it is impossible for an element to move right a lot of times, but it is possible for an element to move left. So she basically run the loop twice, so now an element can move right and left a very long distance. And now we're still trying to find basically the time complexity of this program, however many times this thing will run. So at first glance, it's probably still bubble sort, so the time complexity should still be around n squared, but this is not the silver version, so we have to think a little bit deeper. And we need some critical observations that I am very certain I will no longer be able to make. But I was able to make them before when I did this problem. Anyways, enough flexing. First of all, I knew this has something to do with finding inversions, which it does. And I even thought of this for the silver version, but it wasn't. Anyways, it does have something to do with finding inversions. So if that helped you, you can pause the video and see if you can solve it now. If you can't, well, for spot x, we realize that exactly one element will go from the left side of x to the right side, and exactly one element will go from the right side of x to the left side. If you don't believe that, simply the process by yourself, and you'll see that it's true. So the second step, by second step, I mean the second loop in which we go from right to left. So on some extent, we can treat it as element x and y basically swapped places. And what does that remind us of? Inversions. So basically, we have to print at least number of valid I moves in each operation, and I is an element that's left of x but greater than x, and each I is corresponded to each j. So if we find the number of i's, we also find the number of j's, and each time they swap places. Still, our answer is the max of all this value across all our axes. So we're done. Literally just find the inversion and we're done. So algorithm-wise, this is totally on par with the 2018 gold problem. But it is very good observations, and if you can't make this observation, you are cooked, and you better wish the other two problems save you. And that'll be me. Anyways, yeah, you have to just look at this, simulate the process, play with a lot of data, or just have a really big brain and stare at the code, and then you realize that no more than one element can get past x on each turn. So obviously, we use a simple Fenwick tree or binary index tree, you can call it, and we find the number of inversions on each spot, and it's simple. So yeah, uh, yeah, okay. So that is the code. Hopefully, you can solve this problem now. Just good observations and easy algorithms. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Okay, today I solved Bribing Friends from 2022 December. And as you know, yesterday I was able to come up with the 75% solution in which I just brute force DP. And I was even able to think of sorting them by ice cream cost, which is XI. And then I even considered a greedy of trying to buy the most ice cream cost efficient and then trying to buy the most, regular cost efficient. However, I couldn't decide on the order to do which. And then I realized it's not about the order. Literally, since there's two cases, there is one very classic algorithm for something like this, and that is meet in the middle. Basically, we do 2DP and then literally do something that's almost exactly like meet in the middle. So after we sort to create a monotonicity, we know that there is going to be a breakpoint in which left of it is very ice cream cost efficient and we want to buy it with all ice cream, and right of it is all buying with pure money. And the center one is the one that we want to pay with half ice cream and half money. And this is also based on the observation that I was able to make yesterday in contest. And that is, if you purchase something with an ice cream, you'll either purchase all of it with ice cream, or there is at most one that you purchase with half ice cream and half money. And that observation come in handy here. So yeah, I was able to solve this back in 2024 May as well, even though I wasn't able to purely solve it by myself. At least I would believe I didn't. Otherwise, I fell off by quite a bit because this is quite a big brain strategy, and I'm not even surprised I wasn't able to think of it back in contest yesterday. And I'm low-key surprised that USACO gave us so much partial credit for such a brainless DP. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.